Folks, it's swampy.
It's a little swampy in here.
Hey, the weather's stuck.
Yeah.
You want to just read that headline out for me?
Of course I do. Australia's weather forecasts are suddenly identical each day.
Yeah, the weather's glitching and now it's just stuck at the same weather.
That's so funny.
Let her go, but it's the weather.
Just.
It's really exciting. Like, there's no, like, I mean, we can kind of blame the gas giants for this or whatever, but, like...
Do you reckon?
I mean,
I'm always ready to, but
yeah, if we want. And I think I forgot to mention in this episode that we're not taxing them and we could be, and there's a giant campaign paid for by... There they are right now.
They're coming for us.
Paid for by the gas giants to be like, oh, don't tax us. It'll be bad for the country.
Yeah, there's this ad for, like, I don't know if it's natural gas or natural coal that I hear on the radio all the time. Which is, green coal, where it's like, oh, the amount that we pay in tax can fund Medicare for a year or whatever.
It's like, oh, I'm getting such great service from Medicare these days.
It's just like, hey, yeah, maybe you could pay a little more and I could have dental on there. Maybe I could get my teeth fucking fixed.
I saw Australians aren't going to the dermatologist anymore because it costs too much.
Cost of living crisis.
And it's like, yeah, so, skin cancer is getting picked up when it's worse. It's like, man, they're probably all miners. They're in the sun doing I don't know how mining works. I know they're underground some of the time.
Damn.
Hey, become a miner. You won't get skin cancer. You'll be underground.
And we've all been miners once.
Iron lung or skin cancer.
I mean, people are entitled to their sexual proclivities. Let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom. But I ain't spending any time on it. But I ain't spending any time on it. But I ain't spending any time on it. Let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom. But I ain't spending any time on it.
Hey folks, welcome back to another rousing week of Should'nta. Another reading.
Yeah, are you aroused?
Are you aroused? Or are you around?
Because it's time to rouse.
We're out here reading the Australian polity. Nobody's brave enough to say what we're here to say. Death to Israel.
Gosh.
Fuck Anzac Day.
There we go.
There is no future for the West. Anyway, I just read The Guardian over the last week, and I'm just going to tell you what I saw. Tell Karen, tell all of you. It's just news this week. Folks, we're going to go around a few things that you might have heard about, you might not have. It's a lot of fuck shit this week. I was talking to one of my dear friends, one of our Patreon subscribers at that. And I'm like, girl, how you doing? She's like, I'm tired.
I mean, fair enough.
It's been a demoralizing week of fast news, especially if you're trying to follow where the government is putting its money and where it's trying to make savings. Karen.
Hi.
What's your favorite bird?
What's my favorite bird? That's an off-topic question.
Yes.
All right. My favorite bird. I feel like I could think about this for a while, but that creepy, like, hornbill, shoebill bird is pretty up there.
I love those hornbill, shoebill creeps.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. Completely irrelevant. We're not going to be talking about birds. Well, we'll talk about birds briefly, but mainly turtles. But we're going to start with somebody who's blameless in this whole mess, but she is also one of our most common targets of ridicule on our morning walks.
Okay.
Because when we punch up, it's not, like, all the way up.
No, it's kind of like diagonally.
Yeah, it's like diagonally up. I am, of course, Karen, talking about the Guardian's milquetoast columnist, modern-day stoic philosopher, and lady living in her own world, Bridget Delaney.
Bridget Delaney has been an in-joke between you and I for years at this point.
Decades.
Yeah, sure, decades.
Karen's in his 40s.
Yeah, sure, whatever. No, honestly, like, since we've been married, but perhaps even when we were still dating, we were talking about Bridget Delaney's Guardian articles.
Yeah, they're such nothing, and she has such a... Look, let's look at Bridget Delaney's frigid take. If you wanted to read out this headline here.
I'd love to, as soon as it clicks over.
Oh, do you like what I did with the...
I really like that. It's spun around because it's a news roundup.
Yeah.
Yeah. The death of Bikram Lama, Sydney's Birdman of St. James Tunnel, has shaken me. What is happening to our city?
What is happening to our city of Sydney? What do you think Sydney is, Bridget? So, folks, if you haven't heard about this story, a Nepalese guy named Bikram Lama died in Sydney about a week before his body was found on the 7th of December 2025. Bikram had been sleeping rough for a while and was most known for feeding the pigeons in Hyde Park, leading to his ostensible nickname of Birdman. Now, my first question is, do you think this is what anyone was calling him until he died?
No.
Anyway, Bridget's article bemoans an Australia that never existed. An Australia that has a bare minimum level of care for the people it exploits to facilitate our
way of life.
Dun dun.
Like, Sydney is where the worst people I grew up with went to make money. A place where people escape from when they look at the world and realize it hates them. Bridget, who's been recently on this stoicism kick in her general self-help and wellness for the informed soul, can't believe that a homeless person could be let down in her stupid fucking metropolis. From the article.
As individualistic as this place often is, I thought there still existed minimum standards when it came to how we see each other.
What gave you that thought, Bridget?
Yeah, like what implication did you receive that information from?
I don't know, imagine saying that about Sydney. You know, I'm not a big fan of Melbourne. I hate Australia. I've always hated Australia in a spiritual sense. People will often respond with some version of, but don't you have a good quality of life? Why aren't you grateful? And the reason that the quality of life we enjoy in this country is a mirage, built around the exploitation of others. And the Australian people would prefer to shut themselves in their houses and be waited on hand and foot by international students tricked into coming here to access our way of life. We know this. Everyone knows this, and it will collapse one day. But, you know, Bridget has at least the decency to be sad about this. Whenever a homeless person dies, you'll see a lot of people being like, oh, they were just on drugs or whatever. Who cares? It was probably some gay faggot who took drugs. But she hasn't written a, goddamn word about Palestine or Sudan or any condemnation of Israel, but she does have the right reaction in that this is a shame.
And you know he's a Christian preacher. If it's a shame to him, you know what it is to me.
That this happened.
Yeah, I guess the emotion is, oh no.
At least she's not excited.
Yeah. But isn't that like a low bar to have to try and cross when it's like, hey, I'm going to talk about someone dying? Like, the least you could do is be a bit sad about it.
That's the thing, right? And it's, representative of a shameful, self-centered society. I know we're going to spend many more mornings looking at whatever self-help slop she's decided to publish on The Guardian, but she's, although refracted through 1,000 mirrors, on our side of this thing, which is just hey, it's bad how this is going.
This sucks, yeah.
However, our side is the side against Sydney and against Australia and against the Western way of life, and she'll be less stressed if she accepts that instead of being a stoic or whatever. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Well, we're here to talk about the news. It's been a demoralizing week. So, Bikram Lama was one of about 35,000 homeless people in New South Wales. His death is a boon to all social services, who are really hoping that these people hurry up and die so the vacancy rate doesn't look as bad. This is from Amy Greenbank, writing for the ABC in mid-2024.
There are more than 43,000 privately owned properties in the state sitting vacant, some in prized suburbs close to public transport.
So, you put that 35,000 homeless people in the 43,000 houses, you have 8,000 houses left over. Now, I'm no fancy big city mathematician, but 35, less than 43.
Yep.
I've talked to a lot of people that don't want to accept this fact, and obviously that's behind a big part of the, we need to build all these houses, and we can't let the international students in because there's already a housing crisis. It's not a houses crisis.
Yes.
It's a housing crisis, but it's not actually a houses crisis.
Yes.
Houses crisis is
Houses crisis.
Movie or band?
Houses crisis?
Yeah.
Or
a Korean film star.
Damn. Band.
All right. We'll get in touch with Houses Crisis, have them on the show. But the problem of how many people are without housing isn't a problem of supply. It's not that there aren't enough homes. In fact, there are so many empty homes that we could move the entire homeless population of New South Wales into Sydney.
Damn. That's nuts.
We couldn't. We don't.
What do you mean?
We don't have the savings to do so.
Yeah, but we could. We've got spirit, don't we?
We've got spirit.
We've got grit.
Somebody could. Mao did it. Castro did it.
There's a lot of people who could actually do it. It's laughable. This shit's laughable.
Yeah.
The amount of homes that are empty in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
That have just been abandoned.
Yeah.
Is
for rent,
fucking
just
stupid.
left vacant.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna get to some of those numbers soon, but if that doesn't happen, right? Because I recently, after writing this, I read about how a Gold Coast street is we gotta get rid of these homeless people, send them down to Byron Bay. But if it doesn't happen here, with enough time, people are going to find the names and addresses of these big landlords leaving their houses vacant and realize that, despite their big gates, a well-thrown rock or flaming bottle can reduce their precious property value very quickly. Perhaps more disgusting, I don't know about more disgusting, but I'm disgusted by it, is the non-primary residences. So that's when you have a second place that you live in sometimes, strictly for the convenience of your working life, because you have nothing resembling respect for the people that live around you. From that same ABC article.
In some inner-city suburbs like Camperdown, Darlington, Chippendale and Ultimo, the non-primary residence figure was as high as 1 in 4 properties. That's fucked.
1 in 4 properties
4.
that are like lived in some of the time.
That's insane.
1 in 4. Are these people ashamed to have these properties?
No, of course not.
No, of course not. I met a lot of these people when I worked at Mecca. They often lived in like Dubai or the UK, and they had a house in Brisbane that they lived in very occasionally. I remember this couple. Do you remember the boat couple?
Yes.
So they come down. They're down here from London. And I'm like, oh, what are you doing in town? She's like, oh, the council called and, we have a boat on the harbour that we had to move. So we just flew down. My husband's still in Singapore. But, I'm going to move it, stay here for a while. We got a house here. It's like, you have a house here and a boat here.
Yeah.
Why
And
do you live in London?
yeah. And it's like, oh, we had to move our boat, so we flew from the other side of the world to come here to move the boat.
It's like just
That was the easiest thing to do.
What kind of world,
That's
what
insane.
kind of fucking world?
Well, it's the same as that guy I used to work with who would like fly to Japan for the weekend.
Oh,
He's like, oh, I have a
disgusting.
dinner in Japan, so I'm going to go do that. And it's like, I'm sorry, what?
I mean, you know what? Japan, I think, has the self-respect to not let him own property there. It's like, if you're not
true.
going to be here.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're like, hey, we have I think that's the main thing that drives a lot of this shit with Australia in particular, is because we simply don't have like such a population density that this becomes like a crisis that needs immediate action.
Yes.
Like, if this were happening in Japan, in Singapore, in, like a place with like just like a high density of people, surely that would cause more of a reaction than, now, which is just kind of like, we'll just keep doing it and eventually it'll work itself out.
Every once in a while, we'll, kick the tents from one, city to the
Place
other
to
city.
another, yeah.
I mean, look, this bears repeating, but like in China, this situation was drastic 20 years ago, and it's now not, because everyone lives in a house now. Like, I'm sure not everyone, but when you look at their challenge and compare it to our challenge, and then you look at their reaction and compare it to our reaction, it's laughable.
Yes.
I hope the people who live in Dubai got hit by a missile. But the Greens estimate for Brisbane is that there's something like 10 to 15,000 dwellings that are empty without being advertised for rent and not under renovation. If you add those two things, obviously that number gets higher. On top of this, as per the South Bank News, there are 55,000 non-primary residences in Brisbane. So that's people who only live there part of the time, usually less than half the year. The ABS's best estimate is that there are 22,395 people in all of Queensland who are experiencing homelessness. So
Damn.
we could move them all into Brisbane.
And problem solved.
Melbourne has very specific data. There's something about water usage is measured to a higher degree of specificity or something. So you can tell very specifically like how many people are in the house at any time.
Damn.
I've lost where I read that, but hey.
Something.
Look me up, folks. As per the ABC, there are 24,700 empty homes in Melbourne and another 70,000 that are significantly underused, so non-primary residences. This adds up to about 100,000 vacant properties in Melbourne. When you compare this to the 48,000 households on the social housing waitlist, you get this absolutely atrocious fact, again from the ABC.
Melbourne's vacant homes could house everyone on the social housing waitlist twice over. The number of vacant homes equals more than 2.5 years' worth of new construction.
All this talk about, like, we need to build all these homes, we're falling behind on the home building target, is not important if those houses are going to then be snapped up by private investors to leave it in this situation as well. We're leaving the house empty due to a combination of how negative gearing works, how the capital gains tax works, how shameless people are, how little care people have for other people. Due to all of those things, it is just cheaper or more profitable in the long term to just leave these perfectly good houses empty. Or even the shitbox houses.
Yeah.
Like, that would be a step anyway. So, let's go to Deborah Thomas. She was the editor at Clio and Elle magazine.
As editor-in-chief of Clio, I know our people's likes and dislikes and shopping for a new car is a major hassle.
And she was the CEO of Dreamworld until she resigned when all those people died.
Oh, shit, right.
Domain magazine interviewed her in 2022 for an article titled A Tale of Two Dwellings, Why More Sydney-siders Are Buying Second Homes.
Deborah, 65, together with vodka manufacturer husband Vitek Jernussen, 68, are just two of a slew of Sydney-siders who've bought homes in the country or on the coast. They're only 90 minutes away from each other, so you can go up and down in a day if you need to. The worst thing about living in two places is constantly having to take stuff backwards and forwards, and you feel like a packhorse sometimes.
How dare someone say the worst thing about living in two places? How do you fix your mouth?
And also, they're only 90 minutes away from each other.
90 minutes away from each other.
Grow up.
Right?
Sometimes that's my fucking commute.
Yeah. 90 minutes? Absolutely, that's like, if you're on public transport,
Yeah.
90-minute commute, you get used to that real quick.
Yeah.
To get from your shitbox house to your shitbox work. Deborah, who's a fucking new, like, Cleo and Elle and Dreamworld until those people died and she resigned. And her fucking vodka manufacturer husband. This is disgusting. But this is, like, how the other side lives, and they don't even hide this behind the paywall. Domain's not even paywall.
Yeah. You know, I think when I see a rich person, I think about just, like, peeling off their face.
Yeah.
Like, I look at them and I'm like, I would love to deglove her head.
Fuck, that's risky shit.
Wouldn't that be called deface? Oh,
Yeah.
that's already a word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Deborah, hey, come on the pod. You can be at whichever one of the... In fact, we record a podcast sometimes for as long as it would take for you to go from one home to the other.
Yeah.
You know what? You can just be in the car, come on the pod, explain to us why you deserve to have these two houses.
Yeah.
Now, the Gold Coast is apparently the #1 city in the world for second home buyers. And Australia is the second best country in the world for second home buyers. This is per Compare the Market, so I don't know how much...
Oh, compare the meerkat.
Yeah, I don't know how much I trust... Can you make the noise? Do it.
Oh, where they're like, simples. Simples. Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
CompareTheMeerkat.com, CompareTheMarket.com. Simples.
I don't know how much I trust these fucking meerkats, but yeah, property ownership in this country, the nature of it, the goal of it, the absolute shamelessness of it, it can't last forever. There will be too many people here at some point.
The question is, when's that going to happen? Because it's not happened for, like, when we look at housing, and I guess when I look at when I started paying attention to it, which is when it became like a, you know, like a thing that I might have to look at some point, you know, when I was like a teenager, like, it's never gotten better.
No.
Like, it's just gotten worse. And so I wonder, what is, like, at what point is there actually going to be something done? Like, it feels like it's not a fast enough growing issue for an immediate solution. It's slow enough that this is just, like, it feels like it will just, like, be like this forever.
The solutions have all been proposed as well, and we just have the received wisdom that, like, land reform doesn't work, that you can't touch capital gains tax. If you go to 7 News, Sky News, like the mainstream news sources, you will see articles by, like, expert investors, quote unquote, who are saying, don't touch the capital gains tax, as if they're gonna get up in arms about it. We can't tax mines, we can't tax the extra houses, we can't tax the gas giants, we can't tax Peter Dutton. You don't tax, there will be a tax.
Well,
Bow, 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 bow.
yeah, it's just like, it is laughable because, you know, and I know this is something we're going to talk about as well, but it means other things are going to get cut.
Yes.
For useless shit.
For useless shit. So, overlaid with all of this is that Bikram, the Birdman, who... A big part of the story is that he was, like, lying dead next to the entrance to the tunnel for a week. It's like, can you believe all these people streamed past? And it's like, one, to be fair to those people, they wouldn't have been able to see him from where they were. Like...
He was above the entrance, right?
Yeah, behind a bush, right? So there's a little bit, like, emotionally they streamed past him. Do I think they would have streamed past him if they could see him? Probably still, but someone would have... notice the smell quicker.
Yes.
And the flies and stuff.
Yes.
Right? He, like...
Someone would have actually been like, oh, that is a dead person.
I think as important is the fact that there was a guy essentially hiding next to a very busy train entrance. Because that's how he was forced to live.
Yeah.
to the extent that he was able to be meters from people and they didn't see him and that he was dead. But overlaid with this is that he came to Australia as an international student.
Yes.
A big reason that he wasn't able to access even the meager support offered to homeless people is due to his status as like a non-citizen or whatever, right? And so when you think about how much money you have to pay to Australia to come here to study, you can see why students feel like they're being treated as ATMs. And hopefully
because they
they'll
are.
stop coming.
Well, yeah, and
Like, the universities suck. But
yes, and like you and I having worked in the university system before, and like working in international admissions and stuff like that, like it's a fucking rort. Like it is a fucking rort. Like the people coming, you either have to be insanely wealthy, like, and at which point you have your accommodation sorted. You have
it's not a real problem for
it's
you.
fine. But if you're like a regular person, even if you're like a well-off person, but not like, you know, insanely rich or anything, you're going to struggle. You can't work. You will not be allowed to work enough hours to make money to survive. That amount that you're working also won't pay for your tuition fees. Like, your family has to pay for your tuition fees.
Exactly. You
I
better
know
hope they're
multiple
wealthy.
people, and you do as well, whose family spend like all year working.
Yep.
I knew someone whose partner was still studying and had to work 2 jobs to be able to like afford like the tuition.
Two
like they
fucking
didn't
hard jobs as well.
Yeah, like they did not have a day off. When they got a day off, which was like maybe once every 2 months, they were like, oh wow, I don't know what I'm going to do. Probably just sleep.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, fair enough.
Because they were doing the 3 a.m. shift at IKEA.
Yeah,
Which,
and then-
by the way, IKEA, to make it work the way it does, a bunch of the staff are coming in at 3 a.m.
Yes.
That's fucked.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. And then they were going to, like, Big Dubs or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Fucking disgusting.
and then just being like, yeah, I'm just pulling a 14-hour day today. And it's like, oh my God.
When it comes to Bikram, his family live in, like, a village in Nepal, and they sold a bunch of stuff to send him to Australia, being
They
like,
sold
hey,
a bunch
you're
of
good.
land.
Yeah, and it's like he's you know his family's only hope, and then he wasn't able to finish his computer science degree or whatever.
Yeah.
Something that happens, especially when you look at the quality of the education that is being offered.
Yes.
Even to domestic students, but like international students, you're getting someone who doesn't know what they're talking about, and you're doing it in a second. Like that's
awful.
It's such a rort that like I hate our university so much. When I worked briefly in homelessness, so the most common, I guess, cohort were like the poor whites or indigenous people. And then after that, it was very much like international students from Asia in terms of like the cohorts of people that were coming in to access services and such.
Yeah.
So, you know, congratulations, Deborah.
Good for you, Debbie.
I hope they get your address. But on the topic of people who are going to be drowned in a muddy puddle for their fancy jackets, let's talk about a much bigger muddy puddle problem caused by immoral property owners. You heard about these dying turtles?
Yes, unfortunately. I read the article earlier about, what is it, the Gwydir and the...
Gwydir.
Gwydir?
Yes, it's not how it's pronounced in Welsh, but it is in Australia.
Okay, cool. Basin where basically, like, what? Some fuckheads who own some land out near these wetlands have said to the government, we'll sue you if our land gets inundated with water.
Yep.
So the government's like, oh, I guess we can't release the water. But it's an internationally protected wetland. You have to release the water. And they're like, oh, we'll maybe release the water.
It's like, where does
so
international
now,
law ever stop
all
this?
these, you know, right? And so all these turtles, and it's the turtles in particular that are being impacted as well as the fish, because obviously the fish don't have any fucking water to be in. But the turtles are burying themselves in mud in some vague hope that they'll be able to kind of like chill out there and survive until like the water comes back. But we don't know if the water's coming back. So
No, it's
all of these
being
people,
held up.
yes, like this isn't because of drought or anything. This is because people have stopped the water from going there intentionally.
Yeah.
And so like people are just digging turtles out, and they've already found so many dead ones because they're buried like meters into this mud, like just solid fucking mud.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, we'll go into this a little bit, but let's see what Water New South Wales is up to.
Oh, good. Water New South Wales to move on generative AI.
And it's time to call this out for what it is. This is a campaign of domestic terrorism.
Great.
Why do they need AI? What is it going to be used for?
I think Australians are so neutered, and I think this is true of most like industries, and I think perhaps most seats of power, be that business or whatever, are so neutered and stupid and don't know what they're doing that they feel scared when they don't have the latest toy, because it's like, I have to have the latest toy, otherwise I'm not legitimate, and how can I legitimize my existence?
There's so many...
It's embarrassing.
There's so many fish and chip shops that have...
Do they have generative AI now?
No, they're doing their accounting on paper, and it works.
Yeah.
It's fucking fine.
Because it's a legitimate business. It's got a purpose for existing. It's got actual work that takes place. It provides a genuine service with genuine products. Like, what are you doing here? What are we doing here?
What are we doing here? So,
and also, half the water contracts are fucking sold overseas anyway. So it's
they're sold overseas, and then okay, I've got some stuff written, but the Gwydir River for
No, buddy, it's all done.
Yeah, you got to chill out, buddy. So the Gwydir River is part of the Murray-Darling. If you haven't read the turtle article, I suggest you do, I guess, but we'll tell you about it. The Gwydir River is part of the Murray-Darling Basin. It's in New South Wales, but very close to the Queensland border. It's named after Peter Robert Drummond Burrell, 2nd Baron Gwydir, 22nd Baron Willoughby de Eresby.
What a beautiful name.
He never came here, but he probably wore a lot of cotton. And that's what the white folk use the Gwydir River for these days. If we look at the Moree Plains region, you'll see that almost the entire LGA, which is local government area, is identified as a cotton landscape, and more than half of that has been taken up as a cotton property. There's a few major ones around, but in that the orange area is the LGA, and the purple area in the orange area is the cotton areas.
Damn, so just like almost all of it. Maybe 5% of it is not cotton.
Exactly. There was a report in 2008 that found that 87% of the water in the Gwydir River's agricultural water usage is for cotton.
Damn.
This cotton's generally not staying in Australia. It's being shipped overseas to be processed.
Of course.
And it's not even a major job creator. As per the Australia Institute, even in LGAs that produce a lot of cotton, less than 5% of the jobs in that region are associated with the cotton industry. It's an extremely mechanized form of agriculture that doesn't return anything to the community and destroys it. It's not quite as disgusting as the gas giants, but for an industry with a $5 billion turnover, only $12 million came back as taxes.
Damn.
Yeah, so the Gwydir River inundates the Gwydir Wetlands. I know you hate that word, inundates, but it's going to come up here a few more times.
It pisses me off. Just say floods.
How are you? I am under the water. Please help me. Here too much raining.
Fucking wuss.
So there's so many animals that make their homes in these wetlands, and they basically get flooded every once in a while, which keep them wet for the rest of the time. There's water birds who come in during the floods, to the point that BirdLife International, which... my favorite name for an NGO.
BirdLife International.
BirdLife International is
pretty funny.
Fucking fire. I love BirdLife International.
BirdLife International.
That's sick. They identify the wetlands as supporting more breeding water birds than anywhere else in Australia when they're adequately flooded. And then there is, as you mentioned, the broad-shelled turtles that make this place their home year-round. And then recently, one of the landholders, presumed by me to be a cotton producer, but they have been kept private, has complained about the flooding affecting their crops in a floodplain. And in this recent time of relatively little rainfall, there's all this water that's set aside for dams for environmental release in these situations. Because so much of the water has been diverted for agricultural use in the first place, they've had to save a little bit to save the environment every once in a while.
Yeah.
And in a regular world, the government wouldn't have control over this in the first place, right? There'd just be a river that
This would just be how it is.
But these big fucking cotton farms, and it's like, it's the evil crop, right? Like, it's cotton. That's the evil crop. Like, what were all those Africans doing in America? You know? Has taken so much water for their operations that even these fail-safes created to sustain at least a minimum level of environmental safety are being ignored. As this one fucking loser complained, there is currently, to quote conservation biologist Deb Bauer, a disaster.
These deaths are incomprehensible, given there is environmental water sitting in the dam. This could save the turtles, but Water New South Wales is just not allowing its release.
So, yeah, one of the landholders has complained that their floodplain property is being flooded, so they can't let the environmental water out because it's going to damage the cotton that they're selling overseas, probably overseas owned in the first place. And so the turtles, as you said, they're burying themselves in the mud, which is what turtles do in these situations. But the water's not coming back at the rate that their bodies are made for. So far, more than 3 dozen of the surviving turtles have been relocated to Taronga Zoo in Dubbo.
Yeah.
And, like, the people doing it are like, this is just ridiculous that not only are the government not releasing this water because of the insurance liability or whatever, because then they'll get sued, they're paying these guys to dig the turtles up, check if they're alive, and take them to Dubbo.
Insane.
The
Just
water,
let the wetland be wet. It's
Right.
wet land.
It's wet land. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
The water, which is right there, has been stolen from the land to grow cotton, to send overseas, to get turned into shithouse clothes that are occasionally sold back to us 6 times a year because they fall apart at the seams. Mm-hmm. And now it's just sitting there while all these turtles die. The Gwydir Wetlands are ancient. They're formed by natural climatic processes that take centuries to play out. There are trees that are 500 years old that have been sustained by these wetlands, that have seen everything from no white people to too many white people. So we don't know who did it. My speculation is that it's P and J Harris and Sons, because they own a big chunk of the land around the place, and also have had 2 foreign nationals die on their farms in recent years.
Jesus Christ.
One guy from Estonia got, like, crushed by this machine, and another guy from Vanuatu drowned.
Jesus.
But that's just speculation. The landowner who made this complaint has been allowed to remain private. Something like 70% of the water in the Murray-Darling River system in this region is owned by 2 companies, one of them being P&J Harris and the other being Webster Limited. This, combined with an extremely messy regulatory framework divided between the 4 states and the federal government, means that water theft from the Murray-Darling Basin is relatively common and a frequently unpunished offense. I read an economic study which showed that given the risk of being fined and how much you get fined when you do, it's worth it to just steal the water and risk the fine.
That's insane.
When you buy a property in a floodplain to produce an environmentally disastrous cash crop, you're then also able to control the government and kill off wildlife at your discretion.
Yeah.
That's
classic.
what this country's about.
Classic shit.
On the topic of the government and cash, here's a headline from Michael West.
Record peacetime spend set for Australia's military. Yay!
Isn't this great? The number we're seeing is $53 billion.
Why?
Well,
like, the amount that we've been spent, and, like, I get it's because there's, I don't know, like, actually, you know what? I don't get it.
Yeah, I get it's because, I don't know.
Exactly. Like, on one hand, I was like, I get it. Everybody's fear-mongering for, you know, oh no, we'll have to do fighting in the Middle East and kill a bunch of brown people, or maybe we'll have to do fighting in Asia and kill a bunch of Asian people, or maybe we'll have to, you know, defend ourselves from
Fiji.
You know, the villainous
Vanuatu.
Oh, that evil scumbag.
Samoa.
Yeah, so like it makes sense that there's increased spending because we've had all this fear-mongering and stuff. What I don't understand is anything else.
Yeah.
Like, the point of it, who benefits? The military, obviously. But why?
Because the military-industrial complex, which is just such
Sure, what? Like...
The companies that...
You know, because, like, when you break it down, right? Like, what...
It's...
I mean, you can't, like, wait... It's the same, I guess, as asking, like, you know, why does a company keep trying to make money?
Yeah.
They just like that.
They're just like that.
The problem is this company is part of our fucking, like, federal government. Like, it's an institution that is paid for by the government, and it doesn't sell us a product. We just sink money into it.
Yeah.
And I know where this is leading, because it also means we have to take money from somewhere, because it's not like Australia has just magically gotten more money.
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, the Australian government can just magically print more money, but they don't do that anymore.
But then they get scared of interest rates, and then the RBA that does nothing other than be like,
the Zionist-influenced RBA,
you know,
for what it's worth.
The RBA sees its shadow, and then we have to have 9 more years of interest rate hikes. Like, it's just, it's insane.
Well, let's go to Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Defence Richard Marles, who has this to explain why they're doing this. That's a picture of him with Pete Hegseth.
Great stuff. Australia faces its most complex and threatening strategic circumstances since the end of World War II. International norms that once constrained the use of force and military coercion continue to erode. No shit. Do you want to know who's doing the most erosion? Our fucking allies. Are you being so for real?
Like, who
Who's doing this? The people who look like you. The people who have the same interests as you. You can't be saying things like, oh, how is this happening? You're doing it.
Because of your mate.
Doing it.
Because of your mate.
He's right there.
Because of your...
Oh, no, but he's a good bloke, actually, you know. No. I don't want to hear about it. He's a good bloke, all right? We had a lovely chat. We had a few beers. He's a good guy, all right? All that stuff that they talk about, all that stuff that happens in the United States, that's all just fake. It's just gossip. It's gossip. And ultimately, I think I'd like to ask you a question. Who the fuck are you?
That's a really good question, Richard Marles. Well, my name is Deborah Thomas.
And I own 2 homes 90 minutes apart.
I own 2 homes 90 minutes apart, and I ran over Bikram Lama in my car going from one of them to the other. You've said it exactly right. Like, who is using the force and military coercion? Who's invading Iran? Who's invading Lebanon? Who's invading Venezuela? Who's threatening to kill everybody in Cuba? It is the United States and it is Israel.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
This is not a mystery to anybody.
This is because they're like, it's complex. Because they can't say what it is.
Yeah, it's complex because it's like, oh, we can't say that this is fucked because these are our boys. And also, we don't want to say it's fucked because then we'll have to say that what we do is fucked. And that's no good. On Anzac Day?
On fucking Anzac Day. Hey, I haven't got this written down, but... So, they were booing at the Anzac Day ceremonies during the Welcome to Country.
They sure were.
I think if you're expecting anything better from the Australian people, you're a fool. They want to boo it, and now they feel brave enough to do so.
Yeah.
And if you're an Indigenous person doing a Welcome to Country at Anzac Day, I'm sorry, you're either a fool or a traitor to the people. Not to the Australian people, but to the people of the world. Indigenous soldiers, here's something I learned. Indigenous soldiers were sent to the Boer War and then not allowed back in under the White Australia policy.
Holy fuck. Seriously?
Yes. Also, Indigenous soldiers were sent to the Boer War and then Indigenous-owned land was taken and redistributed to all the soldiers that came back.
Oh, yeah, of course it was.
Except for the Indigenous ones.
Well, they weren't allowed to come back. They're not white, are they?
And that's stuff that is contemporaneous with the fucking Anzacs at Gallipoli.
Fucking
Boer War's like 10 years before. Anyway.
Also, if you visit the Australian War Memorial in Canberra, you'll find that there is a monument to Indigenous soldiers that is not within the building. It's outside in a difficult to find, when I visited it, in a difficult to find kind of like weird bush track, like in a wooded area, like somewhere beside the War Memorial.
Yeah.
No signage or anything. You just kind of have to know it's there.
And obviously, the frontier wars aren't addressed there.
Of course not.
Because the people we're celebrating are the people who killed the Indigenous people in the frontier wars.
Yes.
Like, listen, if I'm not, I'm not going to criticize an Indigenous man who went and joined the army in 1900. You need to do what you need to do to survive. I'm not criticizing like poverty draft, people who are being caught up in that. But if right now you're showing up to the Anzac Day ceremonies when Ben Robert Smith is showing up to the Anzac Day ceremonies, you're an Uncle Tom.
Yeah.
And listen,
hey, here's a weird subset of people impacted about, like, because, you know, I know a lot of people don't celebrate Anzac Day because they're against, like, the whole thing, right? It's why I don't go to the dawn service. It's why I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I found out about a new subset of people who weren't going this year because they were upset about how Ben Robert Smith was being handled. One of my work colleagues said some fucking crazy stuff, being like, I just can't believe it. They're using him as a scapegoat. I can't believe how the army's treating him after everything he's done for this country.
I mean, folks, he killed so many people for us, and now they want to hold him accountable for his murders?
He killed an old disabled farmer and then
No, he killed an old farmer and a disabled man. There were two separate murders.
Apologies.
The farmer wasn't disabled.
Well, then that's okay. That's okay then, actually.
Can you imagine killing an old disabled farmer?
That's much worse.
No, it's fucking, like, we got a comment on our first ever anonymous comment on one of our YouTube videos on the Ben
Shout
Robert
out
Smith
if you're
one,
listening to this one again.
being like, oh, Ben Robert Smith was a hero. He did good work.
You're a cuck.
Shut the fuck up.
You're a cuck. And if you're in the military, people fuck your wife while you're gone.
But also, like, no one in the military particularly likes Ben Roberts-Smith.
He also seems like a dickhead.
He's a hero.
Archie agrees. Archie's like, how dare you? On Anzac Day? On Anzac Day?
Anzac Day was yesterday.
Okay.
Anyway, so that was not what we were going to talk about, but, I mean, hey. Like,
Just had to pop off about that real
Just
quick.
had to pop off about that. Like, people being like, oh, this is disgusting. It's like, yes, it's disgusting, because this is a disgusting country. I saw someone being like, the social contract is broken. It's like, no, it wasn't there.
Yeah.
People are asking it to exist and are being resoundingly treated with disrespect, because of course they are. Do you know where you fucking live?
Yes.
Here's a weird one.
Go.
Richard Marles.
Yes.
His grandfather, Percy Pierce, ran the Bjelke-Peterson School of Physical Culture in Melbourne. Not Joe, his uncle. Anyway, that was after the First World War.
Physical culture?
Physical culture. Yeah, it was like an early 1900s, I guess, alpha male thing.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Weird, right?
Yeah.
Richard Marles at the Zionist Federation of Australia conference in 2018 said that Israeli military contractors, including Elbit Systems, are a model for Australian defense. Weird, right?
Yeah.
Richard's wife has investments in the Pengana Alpha Israel Fund, which siphons money from Australia to Israel. Weird, right? Those are her only listed investments.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway,
Fucking stupid.
military coercion. We know who's responsible for that, right? It's the US and Cuba and Iran. I'm being dense. Here's Penny Wong talking about who the problem is. That's her with Marco Rubio.
Great. Iran is deliberately inflicting economic pain on communities worldwide.
No, they're not.
Iran is deliberately inflicting...
Run.
Iran is deliberately inflicting economic pain on communities worldwide, including the Indo-Pacific, with the costs borne disproportionately by the most vulnerable.
Iran is doing this.
How could
Iran do this?
I bomb Iran. Iran says, get fucked. Oh my god, my feelings are really hurt. What the fuck?
Like, how dare you touch this fucking Gusano's hand, Marco Rubio? Like, what decency can possibly... Also, she's looking whiter as she gets older.
She does look
You know,
whiter as
she looks
gets
less
older.
Asian than she used to. But yeah, so that's why Australia is sending soldiers to the South China Sea. Yes, in the 2026 iteration of Exercise Balikatan, Australian soldiers will join American, Filipino, Canadian, French, Japanese, and fucking Kiwis in playing around with big guns and big boats relatively close to China, which you'll note, not Iran. However, it is the specter of war, you know, the war with our biggest and most important trading partner on behalf of the USA. That's never going to happen, but they're going to keep spending money like it's going to happen and creating a military built for it to happen. Which will make it happen.
It just doesn't make any sense. And again, I don't know shit about dick, but how do you justify the relationship Australia has with China is so fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, so fucking weird.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it at all. Like, the behavior of people here towards China is insane.
Towards just Chinese people is insane. Like, people
Given how influential China has been on Australia's development, on, like, Australians as well, like, it doesn't, like, it makes no sense to me. It's, like, so much... It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Australia talks about China like... they've done to Taiwan what Israel is doing to Palestine.
And yet. Hey, bud. You gotta get out.
Anyway, Archie, you gotta chill out.
Go to bed.
Yeah,
All
go to
done.
bed. Out of here. Out of here, buddy.
All done.
Out of here. We're talking about China. China.
I don't care about China.
We go to Aged Care Minister Mark Butler, who improbably is a different person to Richard Marles.
Bart Muckler.
So that's Richard Marles, right?
Yeah.
This is Mark Butler.
Well, I mean, they're all the same, like, salt and pepper, thumb-looking motherfuckers. Like, they don't look any different.
They look, like, really the same, though. Like, I can tell Anthony Albanese and Jim Chalmers apart. And Penny Wong.
Well, that's because, there's reasons for that, but These guys look relatively the same. One's got eyes further apart. One looks like he's had cheek things done.
Yeah. Anyway, Mark Butler.
There he is. Oh.
Sorry.
I was like, damn. That's crazy. That's
What?
crazy,
Damn.
fam.
What
Damn.
Noggo?
Mark Butler, huh? Australians uneasy about NDIS cuts amid $53 billion in new defence spending. Mark Butler concedes.
Yes,
I'm
to
so bad
concede.
at reading today. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine.
Let me
Do you
try
wanna
that
do it
again. Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
I was like, Australians uneasy about NDIS cuts amid
NDIS.
NDIS.
NDIS, the mighty IS, the fighter's shirt on side.
NDIS. Okay. Australians uneasy about NDIS cuts amid $53 billion in new defence spending. Mark Butler concedes.
Yeah, we're uneasy about it.
Yeah, no shit. It's just like, I would like disabled people to have less money and I would like the military to have more money.
But,
That's
like-
not an easy position to defend.
And that money is going to technology companies. Like, it'd be one thing. They can't even be like, we're going to pay for all these soldiers. Because there's
We're
not
going to pay the
even-
soldiers more. No, you're not.
It's not even going to them.
No.
Which, I don't give
Our
a
boys
fuck
in
anyway.
green.
But we're not even doing that. It's going to fucking Elbit Systems. Well, no,
Yeah.
it's not going to Elbit Systems. It's going to Raytheon and Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, well, they need it. They really need the money.
So, anyway, in the upcoming few years, funding to the NDIS is going to be cut pretty significantly. We don't know how much, just that it will be. They've announced they're definitely cutting the money, and they've said some figures, but not enough to know exactly what's happening.
I
right?
remember seeing a vague figure that was like, yeah, at least 160,000 people are going to be cut from the NDIS.
Yes.
And I was like, well, that's not good, is it?
We've been receiving wisdom that the fund is bloated, that the costs are spiraling, and that the program is about to collapse. We've heard that it's been exploited by shady private companies, organized crime, and Thermomix. They're one of a few companies that sell products that can be bought and paid for by NDIS participants, like all-in-one kitchen appliances, where it's like, yeah, this thing,
Yeah.
you put the stuff in, it'll chop it, and then it'll slice it, like, if you have arthritis or whatever.
Yeah, you can just like whatever.
It'll help you prepare your food in a way that keeps you independent. One of the big changes that's been proposed or announced, I'm not clear on what's going to happen, but it's about provider registration. So currently, an NDIS participant can choose to spend their budget on pretty much whoever works for them.
Yeah.
And that means that there isn't a universal registration process, and the number I've seen is something like 94% of NDIS providers are unregistered. Now, this isn't just or even mostly at-home care. This is also things like laundry services, transport services, and places like Thermomix. This is, I think, a problem in itself, but it does come down to the neoliberalization of our society or whatever, right? Like the fact that safeguards for people aren't prioritized over profit making.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if this was such a big situation and such a big deal, the government could create their own, providers and such.
Yeah.
There could be government programs that explicitly do this.
Hey, we don't do that here.
We don't do that here. Sorry, that's too fucking communist or
Yeah.
whatever. It's always so laughable to me where it's like, yeah, we're going to spend $1 billion on XYZ. And it's like, I think you could probably just do that yourself for $1 billion.
Yeah. You guys make the money.
I think that you could probably just do that.
But
Fuck me, I guess, for trying to suggest something reasonable.
fuck me. But yeah, so it's this works for a lot of people. It's also what allows these exploitative companies, the dodgy group homes, to exist, because there's not an oversight process that might stop that. In the way that when you go to a hospital, you know it's a hospital.
Yes. Somebody had to come and give a thumbs up for that to be a hospital.
Exactly. Now, there are ways to fix this that involve spending more money. All current care programs could remain in place, and government funds could be used to allow for active assessments of ongoing programs to ensure that nobody's losing something that's currently working for them, and that people who are being taken advantage of are able to be moved onto programs that work better for them. But that's not what's being suggested. Instead, that money is going to go to defense, and NDIS providers and thus participants are going to have to stump up for registration, and something like 160,000 people, like you said, are going to lose their access. Here's a quote from Loki Ball. This person's first name is listed as Loki, like the god of mischief.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like indigenous, maybe it's like Indonesian or something, but it's Loki. Anyway, Loki Ball at the ABC, who puts the NDIS costs into perspective with tax concessions granted to disproportionately wealthy Australians. This is the capital gains tax and the negative gearing thing. That's just Richard Marles again.
Add the major tax concessions together and they exceed 170 billion per year. Moreover, around 49 billion of that money flows into the top 10% of taxpayers every year, and the total is compounding at roughly 10%. The entire NDIS is on track to cost about $49 billion this year.
You'll notice that's the same number, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
Interesting how that works.
Interesting how that works, right? We can find money for fucking submarines. French or Japanese... I think it's Japanese now. We're getting Japanese submarines now. Japan's restarting their army.
Yeah, Japan's restarting their army, which is crazy. That feels like a bad time.
Like, come on now. Who next? Who next? Fucking...
You know, that one's a funny one. That one's a funny one because it feels like, you know, when they do that, it feels like we're really ramping up to a new season of whatever bullshit comes next.
Bullshit comes
like,
next.
It feels like, oh, this
story.
is another point in history we'll look back on and be like, oh, yeah, that. Huh.
That's crazy.
That's funny how that happened.
It's like, wait, you managed to get a country to not have an army for a while? Well, because they're over doing the training in the Philippines with the Australians.
Yeah, well, also because they were like, you know, with everything that... Anyway, a lot happened with Japan.
But yeah, so we can't find... We can find money for submarines, but we can't requisition unused homes for people on the streets. We can find money for drone defense technology, you know, because of all of the drones that are attacking us. But not to continue funding community engagement programs for disabled people. So many of these problems flow together in that addressing one of them would help address other ones as well.
Yes.
I was just reading about a lady named Amy Tobin, who has cerebral palsy. She's in a wheelchair. And she was able to use NDIS funding to rent a house that allows her to, like, navigate it with her wheelchair. You know, it's disability-friendly accommodation, right? Changes in the rules meant that she was, and this was a couple of years ago, meant that she was no longer able to use the entirety of her funding to pay for the house. Which affects the private investor who owns the house because now they're no longer profiting off it. And so she was no longer able to use the amount of money that she had agreed to use. And so they were like, well, you're going to have to move someone else in. And she's like, no, I want to live by myself. I have a disability. I want to feel safe. And so she ends up spending a bit of time living at Robina Hospital to avoid having to live out of her, like, wheelchair accessible van after she was kicked out of her house. Because... like, another thing
that just, like, feels, like, so sickening.
Right?
Can you imagine? And I think I could not imagine being a landlord like that.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you have solely you, nobody else in this world. You have control over one person's life, somebody that you know, like, explicitly you know needs this accommodation.
Yeah.
Specifically this one that you have ownership of.
It was, like, fitted to her.
Yeah. And you'll just, like, what? Because of circumstances completely outside of her control, you're like, I would like it better if you were homeless, actually.
Because the numbers are... It was previously she was paying $90,000 per year.
Yeah.
And then the rule changed so she could only pay $42,000 per year.
Yeah.
And that difference meant it was no longer profitable to the landlord. The thing to do here is to say, okay, landlord, that's no longer your property. So whatever the costs were, they're not yours either.
Yeah.
We're doing fucking land reform. Archie hates land reform.
I hate land reform.
I think Amy's doing better now, but she's an athlete. Like, she's like a para-athlete.
Yeah.
This story, like, shows how many pitfalls there are that people face who are vulnerable in our society, and how the federal level chopping and changing of programs in the name of penny pinching, when compared to the frankly irresponsible hoarding of money by private landlords and the military, and cotton producers, demonstrate a tremendously skewed perspective on who exactly our government works for, which is those guys.
Not us.
I guess.
That's for sure.
Anyway, bye everyone. That's the news.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. We've been Shouldn'ta Come. If you like what we're doing or you just want to toss us a couple of buckaroos, you can do so at www.patreon.com/shouldn'ta. Email us. Why not? Hey, you've got an email, maybe. So do we. It's shouldn'ta. That's SHOULDNTACOME @gmail.com. And if you want to check out our YouTube channel, which will have this as well as all of our other episodes with our slideshows, leave a comment about how much you love Ben Roberts-Smith.
Yeah, tell us your favorite thing about Ben Roberts-Smith. Which of his murders was best?
Yeah, which one was your favorite murder? And you can do that at youtube.com/@shouldn'ta.
Also, while we were recording this, someone once again tried and failed to shoot Donald Trump, and I'm just fucking saying.
I need you to sort your shit out. America, you have the most guns in the world.
You
Like,
can't
you
shoot
actually
this
do
cunt?
need to sort
Like,
this shit
come
out.
on, he's always playing golf.
Yeah.
Like, why is this taking so long?
He's deeply unwell.
It makes me feel bad. No, it makes me feel like my whole, like, oh, eventually the people are gonna rise up. Like, well, maybe they fucking can't.
Well, maybe they can't because they're just like, it's just like, everybody is too fucking stupid.
Anyway, bye, everyone.
Bye.